But I think the biggest challenge that millennials are probably facing is actually student loan debt. For somebody to be stuck with X amount of money that they're unable to pay off for years and years and years kind of means we don't become our own adult until 40 or 50 or even later at times.
Last week tonight with John Oliver, he recently did a segment about student loan debt. So it's definitely something that a lot of people are talking about.
So I think the biggest challenge that's facing my generation right now is social media, learning to separate social media from real life.
I know that for me, I can spend hours a day on my phone and not even realize it. So Star, you're definitely not alone.
In-person interaction, I think communication has increased, but it's more now over technology instead of in person.
Texting, it's a lot easier to look back at the chat and see what people have said before, which has affected my ability to remember things that I learned like in conversation when I talk with people.
I got to go with the economy here. You know, college is getting more expensive every single year. So my generation right now, trying to afford college, taking out student loans, trying to make money right out of college.
Where do you invest your things? How do you spend your money? And just like how you exist in the economy and what you purchase, that is definitely a hard thing to navigate because there's a lot of different sort of branches on that.
I think the biggest challenge facing my generation, and I'm guilty of it too, is saying yes to too many things because you don't know what that opportunity could lead to, then leads to us spreading ourselves really, really thin and not leaving time for, outside things of relaxation and taking care of yourself and relationships and things like that.
There's that grind mindset that I know a lot of people talk about. Sometimes you have to learn how to say no, and just know what you want to do, where you want to go, and what's going to help you get there. So I turn over to you fans. Which answer do you love the most? You can vote in chat by typing vote space and then the number of the answer that you related to the most, the issue that you think is most pressing, and then they will go on to the final round for the weekly finale show and could be crowned the champion of the week. Saying yes to nothing. Congratulations, Quinn. Money must be funny in a rich man's world. Money, money. Every song is about money and the struggles of having or needing money. I turn it over to you, viewers, and I ask you, what's the biggest challenge facing your generation right now? Is it climate change, social media dependency? Do you agree with Quinn? Are you saying money, money, money? Or a lack of mental health awareness? I think these are some good variety. Social media dependency. It's sort of always been a problem, and I think me and a lot of other people, we never really figured out how to deal with it, how to integrate it healthily into our lives because it's such a new invention. And I know that there's a lot of people who are encouraging people to touch grass. So after the show, make sure to go outside and go on a little walk. But I think now we can get into the next question, which, speaking of social media, do you believe social media is a net benefit or a net burden to society? This is a good question. I think a lot of people say that it's both a benefit or the burden, so it's just choosing which one you think it is more. I think for me, I would say that it's overall a benefit because I do think it's a matter of like learning how to incorporate it healthily into your life. But I've seen so many incredible things on social media, especially like social media as an artistic medium. You have people who might not have been able to get into like filmmaking or get like a professional job as like a VFX artist, let's say, who are able to go on social media and they're able to like post the animations that they make, post the videos or the crochet items that they make. And they're able to like sort of build a base of fans on their own and sort of do the thing that they really love without needing to go through all the hoops and like go to all these networking events. So that's just my humble opinion. That's getting off my soapbox. But now we have some incredible answers from fans with their own thoughts on this. So I turn it over to you and ask, do you think social media is good or bad?
Until a few years ago, I think I would have said benefit. Starting a couple of years ago now and looking into the future, I definitely lean more burden, especially for the younger generation, just with all the hate language and bullying and just cyber cruelness that is out there now. I am so glad that I only grew up with like MySpace top 8 worries and disposable cameras because that was embarrassing enough.
You do make a good point. The internet is sort of like the Wild West. There are just so many people out there. I will say, though, I think one advantage of encountering that is you sort of do develop a thicker skin. And I'd be lying if I said I didn't steal some of the lines that I've seen online. Like, some of them are hilarious. So I guess that has its pros and its cons.
I have wavering opinions about social media and how good it is for society. I think that it depends on the line of work you're going down. I want to act in movies and in film, and it's something I would love to do, and I need to be on social media to do that nowadays. You have to be social enough for that kind of job. But I think if I wasn't doing that, then I would gladly not be on social media, and I would be perfectly fine with it. So it depends, I think, what line you're going down.
Yeah, I think we're sort of talking about the same thing where it's like for a lot of professions, it is beneficial, if not required, that you get on social media. But yeah, no, I think ultimately at the end of the day, it's not for everyone. So if you don't want to be on social media, if it's too much work, too much pressure, why do it? Why put yourself through something that you don't want to be put through?
I'm going to say benefit to society because you get to connect with people who you might not have been able to connect with prior to the advances made in social media. I love social media. I love TikTok. I love Instagram. I'm even a Facebook girl. Find me on LinkedIn. I don't care. I love it.
Speaking of, Taylor is all in. There are so many social media apps out though, and you don't really need to be on all of them, but there's a lot of options. And definitely there's so many ways to connect with people. I know a lot of my friendships, a huge base of it is like people sending me memes, sending me TikToks. So it can definitely, if you use it correctly, it can definitely like deepen and foster relationships.
I believe social media is both. For the good that comes out of it would be people who aren't able to go out and get jobs are able to work on social media and make money, spread awareness. There's a lot to learn from social media. And I think all of that can be the beautiful side of it. But the burden of it would be there's a lot of research coming out that, especially for younger generations, it can be very dangerous to our mental health.
Oh, I did not know that there were studies that were coming out already. Because I feel like, that's honestly not surprising because it's not that new. Maybe I'm just thinking about it weird because I don't realize how old I am. But yeah, no, I think definitely it's tough on the mental health aspect, but I do know there's a lot of like social media marketing jobs. I myself had a social media internship like back in college. So yeah, you got a good point.
I would say overall, it is a benefit. However, it does make me fearful of how social media affects people in their younger years. I feel like as an adult, I was an adult when social media really got big. I had AIM when I was a kid, but like now people are just seen their whole lives, so that actually scares me quite a bit for society.
Yeah, no, speaking of those studies that Lyndon was mentioning, I feel like definitely how people treat themselves as celebrities on social media and sort of I've read an article that was like the commodification of the person and how you feel you need to present yourself in a certain way on social media for some reason. I don't know. But yeah, Bartimus, you are definitely right. That is a very prevalent problem of just like you're constantly having to post. Even if you're not posting, you might be posted on someone else's. You're just all eyes are on you all the time.
Do you believe social media is a benefit or a burden to society? Well, it's definitely a benefit for sure, but of course, benefits come with problems as well, don't they? And especially for people like me who's getting a little bit older, because you've got to learn this, you've got to do that, you have to be on here, you have to focus with that, you need this adapter, you need that plug-in, everything. I don't know what's going on half the time, really, I don't. But it's definitely a benefit.
Yeah, that's the part of it that they don't really talk about is it's like there's a new social media app coming out every day. And then you have to add on to like, in addition to Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, there was that one, Be Real for a little while. So there's always one that's coming out that you have to learn an entirely new setup for, but it's exhausting, but it's also kind of fun. Not gonna lie. Well, this is an incredible set of answers. I turn it over to you, fans. You can vote in chat by typing vote space and then the number of the answer that you loved the most, the answer that speaks to your opinions on social media. And who knows, maybe that win the entire question and you will see them in the weekly finale final round. Yeah, I feel like we got a pretty good mix of people who were saying that it was a benefit, people saying it was a burden, people saying it was both, that their opinions changed, that it's neither. You know, I think there's an answer for everyone. Ooh, Bartimus, congratulations. So he's saying that it's a burden because you are being seen your entire life, which yeah, there's definitely, it feels like it's weird when you feel that need to perform just in your daily life and you're sort of always on in that aspect. But I think as long as you remember that social media, it's for your own benefit. You don't need to be on social media, unless you're like a creative or you want to go into digital marketing, in which case I would recommend you get on social media. But yeah, no, I think it's all about healthy boundaries at the end of the day, I think is the general consensus. Well, congratulations, Bartimus. We will see you in the final round. But now, viewers, I turn it over to you and I ask you, is social media a benefit or a burden to society? So we have, it is beneficial, it is detrimental, it's both good and bad, or you don't really use it, so you don't really care. So we got, because yeah, you can vote in chat the same way that you vote for your favorite answer. And it's detrimental. Oh, wow. A very wide margin. A lot of people think that it's detrimental. Which, it's sad because I feel like social media could have been good. But I think that, yeah, maybe we weren't ready for it. Maybe it's one of those cases where we give it a few years. We really like get down to the nitty gritty of what it means, how we do it correctly. We get down like content moderation, and we just figure it out. And maybe in a couple of years, people will start changing their tune. But for now, hey, you're on YouTube though, so how bad could it really be if you're watching the show right now? Well, thank you all for answering these questions. We will move on to the next hot topic, which is also related to mobile media. We're asking, is it ever justified to snoop through someone's phone? And have you ever done it? This is a very interesting question. We're now getting into the area of privacy, which is a very hot topic. I think for me, I don't think it's ever really necessary. I don't know. For me, I'm like, I know that for people's phones are like their private space. I don't really think, unless you're like, using someone's phone to like call someone else because your phone is dead, you don't really have a need to go on someone else's phone. So if you feel the urge to do it, I might reevaluate the relationship that you're in, or like how you see the other person whose phone you're snooping on. That's my opinion though. I think if you feel the need to do it, it might be indicative of other problems that you should resolve first before you snoop on someone's phone. That being said, it's kind of fun when someone does it and they see the secrets, the tea. But that's just my humble opinion on it. I don't think I've ever really done it. Maybe I've like accidentally seen a text on someone else's phone if they're like showing me something. But I'm not a snooper. I'm like, I don't need to see all that. That's your business. But that's just me. Let's get our opinions from fans. I ask you all, have you ever snooped on someone's phone, and is it justified?
I'm only saying it's not justified because I don't want people looking at my phone. What's on my phone is for my phone and me only. And have I ever done it? Probably. Will I ever do it again? Maybe. Yeah.
Oh my God, Zach. Yeah, I mean that's really the crux of the problem is do unto others as that you would have. Do unto others as you. Wait, I don't know what the phrase is. Do unto others as you would have done unto you. I think it is. Yeah. That's it. So yeah, I think you got to consider that. Would you want someone snooping on your phone? If not, don't do it to someone else.
I think snooping through someone's phone can be justified depending on the situation. For example, I'm throwing my mother a surprise 60th birthday party, and I just did a quick little peep through her messages to be sure that nobody mentioned the party when I texted her for her birthday.
Okay, that is very cute. I will just say, though, as a warning, if you're thinking about snooping, be prepared to find what you're looking for and more. Because who knows, Victoria, you could have been snooping on your mom's phone and you could have seen her talking smack about you to her mom friends. And then how willing would you feel to throw her a surprise birthday party? But yeah, no, I do know the lengths that people would go to throw those surprise birthday parties. So good for you, Victoria. You did it.
I think it's important to go through someone's phone, like only in the event that either they're missing and you have their phone and you're trying to figure out where they are or what happened to them, or if you don't know them, but they were in some sort of accident or emergency situation and can't identify themselves to you. So I read this thing on the internet that says that you should always put your emergency contact, put what their relationship to you is in their name. So you could have like their name and then husband or partner or wife, or something like that. So that if you can't speak for yourself in some emergency situation, someone else can go through your phone, find them and call them. So yeah, I don't think snooping just to like try and get information out of someone is ever right. But in emergency instances like that, I think going through someone's phone can be super crucial.
You know, that's actually a good point. I feel like when we think about phone snooping, we think about like the drama, the hot goss. But in some situations, if you're not able to use your phone, someone's gonna have to snoop out of necessity. Someone's gonna have to like snoop in an emergency. So that's a very good life hack, Phoebe. I will definitely keep that in mind. If you see me adjusting my context during the show, just know that that's what I'm doing.
Is it ever justified to snoop through somebody's phone, and have you ever done it? I'd say in large part, no, you shouldn't really do this unless there's like a really good reason why. Whether you think someone's in danger, I guess if you guys have that kind of relationship where you have open phones with each other, I guess then that would be another point. Have I done it? Yeah, a couple times, and I think they were pretty reasonable circumstances, but that's me saying it. So yeah, I'd say for the most part no, but in some gray areas do it.
Hawkeye, I think you might need a second opinion on whether it was justified for you to snoop, because it's easy to excuse it for yourself because you're like, well, I had to do it for this purpose. But if you're looking at the same situation but someone else did it, you might be like, no, are you kidding me? There was so many alternatives. So Hawkeye, I'm glad, although I do appreciate the honesty. You and Zach, this is what we're about at QOTD, is being honest, because why lie about this?
It is probably justified some point going through someone's phone. Can't say that I've done it. I just don't care enough. I don't know. It's probably why I'm still single.
No, honestly, I think that if this is the reason why you shouldn't be single, Bartimus, because honestly, yeah, it's like if it concerns you, you have to trust that the other person will bring it up to you. You shouldn't need to go snooping to see what people think about you. If they have a problem, they'll bring it up to you or they'll do it some other way. But yeah, no, I don't think it concerns you, and I wouldn't worry about it.
Is it ever justified to look through someone's phone? I mean, look, me, would I do it? Absolutely not. I think it's invasion of privacy. Your phone's like a personal diary these days. It stores all your conversation. It's even worse because it stores every conversation you have ever. You know everything about someone looking through their phone. Almost guaranteed. So would I do it? Absolutely not. No, we should not do that. No.
Wow. I think that is the hardest no stance we've had so far. Ill Options is saying absolutely under no circumstances should you do this. And, I don't know if I would go that far, but Ill Options, I see where you're coming from. Well, everyone, it's time for you all to vote for your favorite answer. What opinion has been given today that aligns most with what you think? You can type vote space and then the number of the person you love the most in chat and send them to the weekly championship round. I know there was an answer from Beatrice that I was hoping would come up where she talks about like, don't go looking for things if you don't want to find them. But at the same time, if you want some like receipts, it's very amazing to like throw the receipts in the person's face, mic drop moment, and walk away. So that's the other option. Oh, and the answer is Phoebe. So everyone's saying it is justified in an emergency situation. Not really if you're looking to like pull one over on your partner, pull one over on a friend. But if like someone's gotten into a like an accident and you need to like get in there to call 911 or get an emergency contact, do what you need to do. Which I think is a very logical, very reasonable thing. You know, you never say never. You know, there's going to be a situation that comes, even if you have the staunchest no snooping policy, there's going to be a situation where you're going to be forced to do it, in which case, you know, you got to swallow your pride. But congratulations, Phoebe. This was an incredible answer. We will see you in the weekly finale championship round. And congratulations again. I think now I turn it over to you viewers. Oh, we're asking what's your go-to messaging app? Because the main thing that you would be checking if you're trying to snoop is the messages. So I guess you're kind of giving yourself away here. What is the app people should check first? Is it WhatsApp, Snapchat, Apple iMessage, or Instagram? Oh, WhatsApp. That's surprising because I know that WhatsApp is very popular with my friends because it's end-to-end encryption, so there's a little bit more privacy there. But I thought it would be Apple iMessage. I think that was the second place. I know that Snapchat, I'm not a fan of Snapchat personally because my memory is so bad that I'm like, I can't deal with like messages disappearing at all, let alone immediately after you close the chat. So Snapchat, I'm sorry, it's just not for me. But I do love WhatsApp. A few of my very popular friend chats are on WhatsApp. So WhatsApp or iMessage, I stand behind you. Well, this was an incredible question. Thank you all for giving your thoughts and your feedback. Now let's move on to the next question, which is, ooh, instead of burial, be composted. It's eco-friendly, but is it for you? We're going out into left. This is the part of the show where we're going out left field. But yeah, I have heard a little bit about this idea of like eco burial, where it's like instead of just being cremated or being buried, you can actually be turned into compost after you pass on. And honestly, I would do it because I think it's like, I don't really care what happens to my body after I pass on. But you know, I think it's like, it's a way of giving back to the earth. It's very like circle of life type deal, you know, and if I get to like help plants grow, why not? You know, but grow an arboretum with me. I think that's honestly a very poetic and beautiful way of going out. But I know it's a very controversial opinion or a very controversial topic. Generally, these answers they run the gamut from completely in support to completely not in support. So I think without further ado, would you be eco-burial? Would you do an eco-burial? Would you get composted?
I think that's really a great idea. I think it's sustainable, and I'm certainly not going to be doing anything with my body once I'm done with it, so it may as well be reused.
Yeah, that's kind of my thought, Jesse. I really agree. You know, what am I going to do with it? I'm not using it anymore. You know, unless the zombie apocalypse happens, in which case... Actually, no, in which case I would be fine with being composted, because then I don't come back as a zombie. That'd be awful.
I think that this could actually be a great idea. It kind of reminds me of how when you can sign up to be an organ donor on your driver's license, you can also sign up to be composted and help distribute your nutrients back to the earth. It could be a really great idea.
Kool-Aid, you're onto something. That's genius. Well, I mean, it's like, I feel like we're already using ID for so much stuff. So why not do that? Wow. QOTD fan base, we're intelligent, we're forward thinking. I'm impressed.
Well, in my culture, we already burn the dead bodies, so I think it should be good to compost the dead bodies, so it will be beneficial for the earth too.
That's a good point. You know, I think a lot of, I know that we have a question later on that sort of mirrors this idea. But I feel like with a lot of like things in the Western world, we're like, oh my gosh, this is such a new thing. And then like other cultures are like, we've been doing this for like centuries. And we're just like, oh my God, it's this new thing. Yeah, no, I think that the burial, the bonfire is another good option. I think just like with returning people to the water, returning people to the ground, the sun is fire, so fire is as natural as well.
Yeah, so I think this is definitely unconventional with turning bodies into compost, but if it's good for the environment and it helps out, especially I know that cemeteries aren't the best uses of land or best for the environment. So I mean, seems like a great alternative. So I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, there you go. I'm looking in the chat now, and I'm seeing a lot of people talking about being turned into diamonds, which I did not know that you could do that. But now I think we might need to do a new QOTD question, which is, would you want to be turned into diamonds? And I think the answers would be a resounding yes. Yeah, so many options.
I would call it off-putting at best.
Oh, we have our first descent. Yeah, I mean, the idea of being turned into soil is it is kind of a little creepy, I got to admit, because it's I feel like we're used to thinking about keeping the body together, keeping it whole, and just not thinking about it, or cremating, turning people into ashes. But the idea of thinking about the decomposition process, definitely, ugh.
In Tennessee, I actually knew someone who took their ashes and created fireworks. And I thought that was really interesting and a way to go out with a bang. And that's an interesting alternative.
There's so many options. That's talk about going out with a bang. Am I right? That's wild, though. Fireworks. Well, we got fireworks, we got diamonds, we got soil, we got everything. So I think now it's time to turn it over to you fans. What are your thoughts on an eco-burial being composted? You can vote in chat by typing vote space and then the number of the person that you agree with the most. I think Jesse, Colade, Sujana, Evan, and Camille are all sort of in favor. I think Peter is our one person who's a little bit trepidatious, sort of cautious about it. But let us know in the chat what you think. And also let us know in the chat what you think about getting turned into diamonds, because I'm now seeing the information on that, and I'm down. Camille, okay. So I think the decision is people want to be turned into fireworks. People want to go out with a bang. I love that. But this just goes to show that there are so many different options. I mean, we proposed the question about eco-burial, but really the question is about alternative forms of burial, and fireworks is definitely a good option. So whether you want to be composted, launched into the sky, or buried beneath the ground, there's an option for everyone, and it just matters what you want to do. But congratulations, Camille. We will see you in the final round for today's show. Now, viewers, I turn it over to you and I ask you, would you want to be composted after death to help the environment? Are you saying, yes, compost me, I'm ready? Are you going for more of a classic burial, it's just not for you? Are you thinking neither, you're going out your own way like diamonds or fireworks? Or are you saying you'll leave it up to your family? What do they want to do? Okay. So the decision is in, and people are thinking classic burial, traditional service, which, I think there's a reason why a lot of people do it. It's because it works. It's a nice sort of ceremony to do, saying goodbye. I think that's totally valid. Also, I just got to say, looking in the chat, I saw people saying that WhatsApp is not a good app to use. So just also putting that to rest in a question about putting people to rest. Avoid WhatsApp, use other apps. But this was an amazing question. I loved talking about eco-friendly death with you all. Now let's move on to the next question, which is a very pressing topic. Are some books so terrible they should be censored or banned? I know this is a very hot topic. I know that there's been book bans being talked about in the news a lot. So I think we can ask the question of whether you think that there are books that any books that deserve to be banned. You can take this question seriously, or you're just like, you know what? Ban the Twilight books because they're awful. You can take this in any number of ways. I think for me, on a serious note, I don't think there should be book bans because, I think we can put ratings on it, you can put warnings on it, but I think limiting information can be a very slippery slope. On a serious note, I'm trying to think. On a more funny note, I would say there's a couple of books that I'm like, I don't know if we need those books out there. But on a serious note, I think book bans, not the most in favor of it. I think there's alternatives. But I know that there are people who I think there's different sides to this question. So I ask you fans, do you think there are some books that should be censored or banned?
Yes, there definitely are some books that should be banned or censored. There's like a whole list of books that can't be read in certain schools and stuff. Can't think of any off the top of my head because honestly, I haven't read a book in a while. But yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. I know that there's a lot of school books that are being talked about. I think that's a very good point where it's like discussing, I think books can be in schools, but what grade is it good to introduce those books in, and like sort of time and place it a little bit. Yeah, but Becca, good points.
Absolutely. Some books are so bad, they should have been banned. Like certain books that I've read in the past, I don't even know why it made it into print. Like, I don't understand. Yes, certain books, if it's that bad, and I think if everybody agrees that the book is super, super bad, it should be banned and no longer able to be printed in any bookstore. That's how I feel about horrible books.
Done. She's like, some of them just gotta go. Yeah. Well, I think it's a matter of like, are they books that you don't agree with, or are they books that are like very dangerous? Because I think there are some books that are dangerous where it's like, I can see that. But, I think it's important to keep discourse alive. I think that's why we have discourse, is to get different ideas in there. But definitely, there are some books that they're iffy at best.
Are some books so terrible they should be censored or banned? For this question, I'm going to go with my Year 9 math textbook. That should be banned, especially the section on trigonometry at least. That whole section should be censored and just move on because no one ever uses that in life. So I'll go with that one.
Yeah, no, we know we went too far with math when they started introducing letters into it. No. Multiple letters? We had X, and then they said, but also add in Y and Z, and then Greek symbols? Too far. I think we gotta walk it back, and we gotta stick with addition, subtraction, and maybe some like multiplication and exponents. I think that's it.
I don't think any book should be banned or censored. I mean, I think people have a right to say what they want and read what they want and make that decision for themselves. Some may not be your like genre, or you may not like it, but I mean, you don't have to finish reading it or even pick it up again. So
that's true. I think a huge part of I think with a lot of things, if you don't, I think a lot of people, when they don't like it, they're very vocal about it, or they try to like make some show that they don't like it. But ultimately, at the end of the day, if you don't like something, you can just ignore it, not buy it, not talk about it. And I honestly think sometimes that's more effective in getting your opinion across than trying to call attention to it to like get it censored or banned. If no one talks about it, no one's going to talk about it.
No, I don't think any books are so terrible that they should be censored or banned. It's up to the reader to decide if they want to read it. And if the library provides it, then it should be there.
Yeah. At the end of the day, what is art but a matter of taste?
I don't think any books are so bad that they should be censored or banned. Because books are just different people's opinions. And I feel like everyone's opinions should be heard and considered. So I don't think any book should be censored or banned for the different opinions.
Yeah, that's one of the best things about art, is that so many different voices, so many different opinions can be voiced. And, what is a world if those opinions can't be voiced, or they might be, heavily restricted in certain ways? Good point, Wei. I think we have a lot of amazing points, a lot of good discourse on this question. So let us know in chat your thoughts and who you agree with the most. I think Becca and Ms. Campbell are saying there are some books that are so bad that they need to not be available. Shiv, Andrew, and Wei are saying, no, there's no way, no book should be banned or censored. And then Brendan is saying he thinks his math textbook should be censored. His one chapter should be censored, or the entire book should be banned. But you know what? As a person who did a computer science degree, math can get ugly. So, yeah. The winner is Andrew. So Andrew said that he was like, no book should be banned or censored. If it's not your taste, you don't have to pick it up. You don't have to do it. But that doesn't mean that the book shouldn't be available to more people. And I agree. I think, if you can have healthy discourse about it, you can have different opinions on different issues, and you can make those available to the public. But that doesn't mean that you need to stifle information, because, if you censor one thing, what's to stop people from censoring more stuff, And just, it's a slippery slope, I think, as I said before. Well, congratulations, Andrew. Your answer got you into the final round for today's show. Could not be more excited to watch this. This is shaping up to be an incredible show. I think now I turn it over to you, viewers. We have a poll. Do you think there is a valid reason for a book to be censored or banned? And if so, what is it? Is it graphic or NSFW content? Too much offensive language? It's just not a good book, lacks literary merit, or you don't think there's a reason? Books shouldn't be banned or censored at all. There we go. Most people agree with Andrew, and they say that there are no books. But a couple people said that if there was a reason, it would be graphic or NSFW content, or just the book isn't that good. Which, I feel like if a book isn't that good, I hope that book publishers are able to stamp that out before the book gets published, and they're able to determine whether an author is worth investing that time and energy in before the book has already been released and you can't really walk it back anymore. But that's just me if I was a book publisher, just giving my ideas. Thank you all for this question. We move right along to the second to last question for the week. Let's get trippy. We're asking, should doctors be allowed to prescribe psychedelics for mental health? So this is actually not a new practice. I remember there's been documentaries and articles coming out about doctors using psychedelics like mushrooms to treat things like PTSD, and really intense mental issues, mental disorders, and just help people through trauma and stuff like that. So it's something that's been making waves recently. So we want to know your answer. Do you think that doctors should be allowed to do this? Do you think it's a good medicine, or do you think it's a hoax? Honestly, I would do it. I would do it just to have that sort of experience, because I know that a lot of people talk about having these trips, but I feel like it's a lot safer to have it around medical professionals, do it with a purpose, and really be able to mine the benefits of it thoroughly and completely. So that's just my opinion. But we have some really good answers from fans with, once again, a wide variety of opinions, a wide variety of answers. So without further ado, I ask you fans to record your answer. Should doctors be allowed to prescribe psychedelics for mental health purposes?
So I don't know much about psychedelics and their effects on people with health conditions, but speaking from a perspective as if I was a doctor, I think I would say I wouldn't do it, just because it seems very scary and crazy. But if it was something that absolutely helped them, it was the only thing that worked, yeah. So I don't think it shouldn't be allowed. I don't necessarily think it should be done unless it's completely necessary. I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah.
No, that makes sense. Yeah, I think it's kind of a thing that a lot of doctors are talking about, where it's like making sure that people are doing it in a very safe way. That's all it is.
Well, I believe that I'm not in the position to say anything about that substance or drug, because I am not sure what it is. But if ever that it came to a point where a doctor prescribes it, I think that it should need a further evaluation and assessment to ensure that prescription to that patient is good and that it will be beneficial.
Yeah, honestly, good point. Where it's like, I think a lot of it is about like definitions and like figuring out exactly what it is and figuring out exactly what people are doing. Um, which, nothing wrong with that. The more defined it is, the safer it is, the better it is.
I think the doctors know what they're doing. Doctors should prescribe whatever medicine is needed, to help prevent mental health. It's a big issue going on in everybody's everyday life. So if they're going to provide the right medication, then go ahead and do what y'all got to do to help mental health, because it's very big.
Yeah. Jay Ross is all in. He's saying if the doctors think it's good, done. Which, I feel like that's generally not a bad way of going about things, especially in the medical field. I know that there are some times when the doctors get it a little wrong, but they went to med school, so I'm willing to put some trust in them.
Should doctors be allowed to prescribe psychedelics for mental health? I assume that's like mushrooms and things. I don't know. I would say no on that one. There's plenty of other, I guess, programs out there for people that have mental health issues, and there's different ways to go about it at the moment. That I know everyone has a different way of, I guess, moving through those things, but I would say at the moment, no, we should stick with the traditional methods.
That's fair. Patrick is saying not yet. I feel like maybe if it's a last resort, maybe, but otherwise there are other methods. We've been exploring other prescriptions that people can use, other methods of treating mental health issues. So, let's try those first. Let's make sure that those don't work, and then we can get into the psychedelics and going on a trip.
Should doctors be allowed to prescribe psychedelics for mental health? I believe they should be. Yeah, they should be allowed to prescribe it. However, I wouldn't agree with using psychedelics to cure mental health, because I believe mental health should be something that someone should get over with a sober mind, not off of being high of drugs.
Yeah, but I mean, when you put it like that, that's a good point. Where it's like it's a lot easier to make progress if you're like lucid and focused on it. I mean, people do get prescriptions all the time, so it's not entirely out of the question. But people have preferences about which methods work best for them, what they're comfortable with. So maybe it's just a matter of what you're comfortable with, I guess.
Should doctors be allowed to prescribe psychedelics for mental health? First of all, what are psychedelics? I'm going to just go straight up no, because that sounds too out there. It's probably one of those alternate things. I'm a traditional medicine fan myself, so I'm going to say no.
Fair enough. So the vibe that I'm getting from all of these answers is, first things first, what are psychedelics? First things first, define that, and then let Bob's your uncle. Then we can proceed with the talk about it. But I want to turn it over to you fans. Which answer do you agree with? Do you think doctors should avoid it like Brendan and Mishak and Becca? Or are you sort of closer to Jay Ross, who's saying he believes that psychedelics are a good way of going about it? So vote in chat by typing vote space and the number. Yeah, this one is a very out there and wild question. So I'm very excited to hear what people have to say and who people support the most. Oh, we have an answer coming in. And people are saying Jay Ross. Okay, most people are saying they are down for it. Looking in the chat, I think a lot of people are talking about just making sure that it's safe, making sure you like ease into it, and that you're going into it with an education about what's going to happen and what you're trying to do. But I think that makes a lot of sense. If doctors are supporting it, if doctors think it's safe, they're onto it. There are probably some studies that have come out already. I know that there's a documentary on Netflix called How to Change Your Mind, which talks about it a little bit. So if for everyone else who needs the definition, I would highly recommend you watch that show. It's on Netflix. Well, congratulations, Jay Ross. We will see you in the final round. But now, fans, I turn it over to you We have a poll for the viewers. Do you think doctors should be allowed to prescribe psychedelics for mental health? Are you saying yes, no, you'll leave it to the professionals, or you're just, this needs further studies before we talk about it more? You can vote in chat the same way you just voted by typing vote or V space and the number. People are saying yes, mental health is wealth. Yeah, I think definitely this is not a new thing. It's something that people have tried variations of. I hear people trying out like ayahuasca and going on these ayahuasca retreats, and just hearing about the wild stories that they have when they go to these retreats. If it didn't work, I think we wouldn't be having this discussion about this question. So it's definitely a matter of what you're comfortable with, but it's not out of the question. So this was an incredible discussion. We have one more question for the week, which is today's question of the day. We're getting lifted. So we are talking about, we've moved on sort of from politics to a general discussion about society, fate, or free will. Explain why you control your destiny or you don't. So the question is all about, do you think that we as humans have free will to make decisions, or do we think that everything's decided for us? And I think for me, I would say it's a combination of both, where we're restricted in a lot of ways by our background, by our upbringing. But at the same time, what we do with all of that is up to us. How we react to that is up to us. And so the way that we move through the world is ultimately a combination of nature and nurture. That's another, I know that that's a discussion about whether we are made up more of nature or of nurture. I see people talking into the chat about simulation, which that I think we can definitely talk about that in this question is, do you think we live in a simulation? That's really what we're asking. Well, we have some really incredible answers from fans to this question. So fans, I turn it over to you. Do you believe in fate or free will?
Easy. It's both. You have the free will to choose your fate. I don't think anything is predetermined. I think we choose how we succeed and fall for the most part. A lot of luck is involved. I think karma's real. I think if you treat people bad, then bad things are going to come to you. But I think you have the free will to choose your fate.
Okay, so Bart is sort of thinking that it's like you can decide you can make your own decisions, you can make your own choices, but the consequences, that's not up to you. How people react to those decisions, you're just gonna have to deal with it. Which honestly, I agree. Karma, what goes around comes around. Do unto others as you would have done unto you.
Oh boy. I thought I would be done with questions like this after I got my degree and finished my philosophy classes. Okay. I think it's a mixture of both. So you control a lot of things in your life. You control yourself. So you make a lot of decisions that are obviously up to you. However, I think that those decisions also cause sort of a ripple effect in your life. So depending on which one you choose, you can determine what's going to happen next. So I don't think you are exactly predestined to do anything, but I also don't think that you are the only reason that those things are happening, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Maybe?
I think, and remember, this is the opinion of a person with a philosophy major. So if there's one person to trust, it is Hannah. But yeah, this is what they talk about with the butterfly effect, where it's like a butterfly flapping its wings in the south can cause a tornado in somewhere else. Where it's like you can't really control. And that's why they always say when you go back in time, try not to change too much. Because if you do that, you have no clue what's going to happen in the future. And it could get wildly out of control. So I think the verdict is you have free will, but choose wisely.
I really hope we have free will. To learn that everything was like preordained for us would make life really depressing, right? Because it's like no matter what you do, you're still going to end up with the same fate. So I definitely believe in free will, and I hope for all of our sanity's sake that that is real.
Yeah, this is the simulation argument. And depending how you feel about living in a simulation, you might really enjoy having no free will. You might take comfort in that, or you might think that it's terrifying that you have no control over your life. Like the train, where it's like, where's the train going to go? I don't know if we live in a simulation, though. It'd be a pretty weird simulation. I saw that someone say it was like, if the world is a simulation, it's a simulation that was made by an alien for a science project, and that alien got a C. Which I think is a very apt description.
Fate or free will? Now, this is a good one, right? Personally, I do think that we are destined to our own destiny, if that makes sense. But the things in between here and now, we could change those things. Those things we do have control over, but our final destination, not so much.
Yeah, so it seems like Enrique is kind of agreeing with Bartimus at the beginning, where he's saying, like, you can choose sort of what direction you want your life to go in, but ultimately, at the end of the day, you know, you're going to be going on a certain path. You know, so you can choose what path you want to go down, but there's not too much choice in that.
Okay, I'll say that you have free will to control your fate, and your fate is made up of your free will. So whatever. So basically, in a real simple way, because I don't want to like get too deep into it, but basically, you are the master of your own universe. You are the master of your own destiny. You're the master of your own free will. You are everything, and everything is you. If that makes sense, you know, I would say that you control your own destiny because every day you wake up, from the first thought, the last thought you have in the day to the first thought you have in the morning, everything is in your control. Everything you produce and everything you put out there is in your control. And that's how some people operate. And seeing those dreams come true, seeing how people make their dreams happen, that should let you know right there that you're in control of it. It may not seem like it, but you're definitely in control of your dreams, your destiny, and anything in life at that point.
Okay, so Panzer Saturn is sort of saying kind of a mix between the two, where it's like you can choose how you react to the stuff that has already been decided for you, and the decisions that you make continue to have effects that you can't control. Wow, this is honestly starting to hurt my head a little bit. It's a lot of thinking. Today's show has been definitely a thinker with all of these questions.
You definitely do not control your destiny. I mean, you can do as much as you can, like studying as much as you want for that test, or like adding as much as you want to your resume. But at the end of the day, bigger factors are always going to change things. Like, you might wake up sick and miss the test, and that will ruin your future. Or maybe someone else has a connection to the boss because he's related to them. So, like, as good as your resume is, none of it matters. And, like, but that's not to say at the end of the day, like, you shouldn't be doing as much as you can to succeed in life. That's what life is made up of. But you do always have to remember that, like, life is controlled by so many different factors, and you can't blame yourself for not everything working out.
Okay, honestly, I think that's kind of the most uplifting view on fate that we've heard today, where it's like, don't stress out too much about it. You know, you could definitely do your best, but just know that it's like the world's going to do what the world's going to do. You know, and it's also like, I know that like with the job search, they always say like, you know, if you don't get a job, then it wasn't the job for you. You know, if you don't get into that school, that wasn't the school for you. If you don't get an A on that test, maybe you're not a math major in college, right? If you fail a calculus test. You know, so it's like, I guess that's like just sort of riding the fate and choosing how you react to it, but just know the world's going to do what the world's going to do. Well, this was a truly edifying list of answers. Now it's time to pick your favorite viewpoint on fate or free will. Vote in the chat by typing vote space and then the number of the answer you loved the most. And you can send that person to the final round, which is coming up in just a second. So excited. It's going to be a good final round. But yeah, so I think we have, I feel like everyone sort of said that you have it was a mix where you have the ability to control your fate a little bit through your decisions, but not too much. We have a winner. Enrique. Congratulations, Enrique. So everyone is saying you have the free will to choose your fate. Ultimately, at the end of the day, you can choose how you live your life, but the choices that you make will have consequences and effects that you can't control. Which I think is ultimately, it's a little bit daunting, but it is kind of uplifting, where it's like, you can make the decisions that you want to make, and you don't know how it's going to turn out, but that's what life is all about, right? It's just living life and seeing what happens. Well, congratulations, Enrique. We will see you in the final round, and you could be this week's weekly QOTD champion. But now, fans, I ask you, to everyone watching, do you believe in fate or do you believe in free will? Do you think there's a plan for you? Do you think choice determines fate? Do you think it's both, that background meets choice? You have the free will to choose your fate, or does it just hurt your head? You're like, I can't think about this. It's in the afternoon. Oh, so most people believe in free will. Nice. Yeah, I think it's a lot more comforting. It's like the I think therefore I am type approach, where it's like, because I'm like in this world and I have my thoughts and I'm saying things, I'm my own person. Which I guess also I guess we could still be in a simulation, but choose free will. It could just be like we have been made by some sort of programmer, alien person, and just sort of let loose and allowed to figure out what we're going to do for ourselves. But yeah, no, there's a lot of theories going out there, and this is just one of those answers. Enriquez was just one of those answers. Wow, this has been an incredibly edifying and incredible show. And now that we have gone through all 7 questions, there is just one thing left to do, which is choose a winner. We're in the championship round. So we have gone through all 7 questions. We have our 7 winners. And now you get the opportunity to choose your weekly champion across all of these questions. How exciting. So what we're going to do first is we are going to do a little recap of all of the winners for today, because it's been a long show. We've gone through a lot of questions. And, who doesn't like a little reminder? But then after that, you can vote on who your champion is going to be.
In Tennessee, I actually knew someone who took their ashes and created fireworks. And I thought that was really interesting and a way to go out with a bang. And that's an interesting alternative.
So Camille is answering the question about instead of burial, be composted. It's eco-friendly, but is it for you? And she's saying that maybe not eco-burial, but you have the option to be one of those fireworks that we just saw in the previous screen.
I think the doctors know what they're doing. Doctors should prescribe whatever medicine is needed, to help prevent mental health. It's a big issue going on in everybody's everyday life. So if they're going to provide the right medication, then go ahead and do what you all got to do to help mental health, because it's very big.
So Jay Ross is answering the question, should doctors be allowed to prescribe psychedelics for mental health? And he's saying yes. He trusts the doctors, and he thinks that if psychedelics are the right answer for you, you should do it.
Fate or free will? Now, this is a good one, right? Personally, I do think that we are destined to our own destiny, if that makes sense. But the things in between here and now, we could change those things. Those things we do have control over, but our final destination, not so much.
Yes, so Enrique is answering the question, fate or free will, do you control your destiny or not? And he's doing a little bit of both. He's saying you have free will in the moment, but your ultimate fate and the consequences of your actions, you do not have control over that.
Got to go with the economy here. College is getting more expensive every single year. So my generation right now, trying to afford college, taking out student loans, trying to make money right out of college, is a huge challenge that's been going on for generations and hasn't stopped yet.
Yes, so Quinn is answering the question, what is the biggest challenge facing your generation today? And he's saying the economy. He's saying money, 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 always the problem. And, that's very true.
I would say overall, it is a benefit. However, it does make me fearful of how social media affects people in their younger years. I feel like as an adult, I was an adult when social media really got big. I had AIM when I was a kid, but now people are just seen their whole lives, so that actually scares me quite a bit for society.
Yes, so Bartimus is answering the question, do you think social media is a net benefit or a net burden to society? And he's saying overall it's a burden because people are just putting themselves in the spotlight all the time, feeling this need to perform for the camera, which being your phone camera. And, the effects on mental health can't be good.
I think it's important to go through someone's phone, only in the event that either they're missing and you have their phone and you're trying to figure out where they are or what happened to them, or if you don't know them, but they were in some sort of accident or emergency situation and can't identify themselves to you. So I read this thing on the internet that says that you should always put your emergency contact, put what their relationship to you is in their name. So you could have their name and then husband or partner or wife, or something like that. So that if you can't speak for yourself in some emergency situation, someone else can go through your phone, find them, and call them. So yeah, I don't think snooping just to try and get information out of someone is ever right. But in emergency instances like that, I think going through someone's phone can be super crucial.
Yes, so Phoebe is giving us a life hack in addition to her answer to the question, do you think, is it ever justified to snoop through someone's phone, but also have you ever done it? A very important second component to that question.
No, I don't think any books are so terrible that they should be censored or banned. It's up to the reader to decide if they want to read it. And if the library provides it, then it should be there.
And so Andrew is answering the question, are some books just so terrible they should be censored or banned? And he says they shouldn't be censored or banned, but if a book is not for you, you don't have to pick it up. If it's not your taste, leave it on the bookshelf for someone else. Well, everyone, this is an incredible set of answers to a very wide-reaching set of questions. So now it's time to vote for your favorite answer for the whole week across all 7 questions. You can type vote space and then the number of the answer you love the most in the chat, and that person will be the weekly champion for the entire week. Wow, wowie, wowie, wow. I don't know how people are going to choose. Which topic do you like the best, and which answer to that topic do you like the best? Oh, we have a winner. Who's it going to be? Bartimus. Okay. Congratulations, Bartimus. His answer to is social media a net benefit or a net burden? And he's saying it's kind of a burden, honestly, because mental health is very important. But thank you, everyone. This has been such an incredible show. It has been such a pleasure to go through all these questions, go through all these answers, and hear your opinions. Unfortunately, since we have reached the end of the show, that means we have to end this theme. But that means we get a new theme for next week, which I'm kind of really excited for this theme. It starts tonight. The theme is party time. So this coming Monday is the Met Gala, the biggest party in Hollywood, where celebrities get into their fun outfits. They walk the red carpet, and then they go into a secret room where they have dinner together, and we're not allowed. And you might have seen it in Ocean's 8, that famous heist movie. But now we're talking about your party times. We're talking about dream party outfits, dream celebrations, the moments at parties you'll never forget, and maybe a little bit about the morning after. But this is going to be such a fun week. And even better, to sweeten the pot, I'll give you a little example of what the questions will be with tomorrow's question, which is fashion flashback. What's a fashion trend from the past that you wish would come back? So I know that the Met Gala theme for this year is Garden of Time. So we're also talking about the past and bringing that into the present by asking you if you would bring back leg warmers, if you would bring back Regency era ball gowns, if you would bring back top hats, and they could be relevant in the fashion scene again. I am so excited to talk about all of these things. Thank you all so much again for watching the show. The new question and the new theme will start tonight, and you can answer it at QOTD.beontheair.com. Remember, you can play QOTD anytime on that website. You can watch, vote, and record, and you can play our other Beyond the Air games. Without further ado, with that being said, thank you all so much for watching again. I'll see you next Thursday at 1 p.m., and I just cannot wait to see you all on TV. Oh, and make sure to subscribe to the channel so you get notified about new questions and daily content. Have a good one. Bye, all.